All right. Anyways, we'll get started, and people will tune in as they will or will not, whatever. I want to thank Stefani um, Woodam uh, for joining us today, and I don't really have much of an introduction other than I came across her artwork from the Community Arts Partnership page. I think is where I found her originally, and she's graciously agreed to join us and talk about her art and her background and her process. And um, I'm gonna do my best sharing some of her work through her website, and she'll share some of her experience and who she is. So, Stefani, welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation. I started doing art about the time I was old enough to pick up a crayon. So pretty much my whole life, like most artists, I suspect, do that. And I had to work for a living off the farm, like most people do. And I worked in senior housing for a long time. I did building maintenance where I met Myra. And eventually I worked my way out of that job and started inspecting buildings for HUD, which was really interesting. I got to travel all up and down the East Coast and look at both the housing authority buildings and lots of private housing as well. And then eventually I was able to retire, and now I can do art full time and work on my farm, which is what I prefer to do. So that's been fun. I also like using lots and lots of different kinds of materials to make art. A lot of people will be just an oil painter, just a watercolor painter, or just doing like one particular type of drawing, but I like all of it. I've made artwork with pretty much everything, including paper and metal. And about 2 years ago, I decided to try wood burning, and I don't know why I waited so long. That is so much fun. A lot of the things on my website now are done with wood. And since we live on the farm here and have a sawmill, I have lots of wood. Most of it's cherry, which is a lot of fun to carve. And I carve the stuff with a Dremel tool and a router and a bandsaw. And it's absolutely mesmerizing, actually. You get into it, and before you know it, 2 hours have gone by and you have no idea where it went. So behind me here is my glass studio, and I have to take my finger off my button for the sound, but if it goes out, I'll click it back on. So behind me here, you can see my glass studio. That's got a torch there. And there we go. That's a little better. That's the kiln where I cook things after I make them in the torch. And there's the torch. And all those little sticks of glass, I melt them in the torch to make things. Like this is a marble that I made. I made each individual flower and then melted it into the marble. And I don't make very many of these because my torch is tiny, and this takes like 45 minutes at 2000 degrees, and it gets a bit much, but they are fun to make. And this one is a different kind of glass, which I rarely use because it takes a tremendous amount of heat, which I don't have, but fun. So yeah, the glass is really entertaining. I also do lots of painting and drawing as well.
Is the
hopefully my sound is staying on here?
It is, yeah. Is the torch, is that a propane fueled?
There, now it's back on. That's a pain in the neck, but I've never been able to fix it.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I was wondering, is the torch propane?
Yeah, it works on propane, and then I have a oxygen generator that pumps out a fairly feeble amount of oxygen, but it does work if I'm patient. If I buy bottled oxygen, it's just ridiculously expensive.
Huh.
So that's kind of fun. And this is
So so how does it generate the oxygen? It breaks.
What's that?
It just distills
this here.
It just distills the oxygen out of the air.
Yeah, it works kind of like what somebody who has an oxygen concentrator in their
Yes,
house
with propane.
uses,
Okay, thank
but
you.
with a little more oomph. Yeah. And this, if I can get it in the picture, you can't see it very well. That's too bad. It's this is a wood burning, which I just finished yesterday. And it's tinted with oil paint, which is what I like to do with wood burning. It's a Raven, so he's all black and it just doesn't show up on the Zoom too well. I haven't gotten this one up on my website yet, but that's kind of fun. And let's see, what else can I tell you? One of the things that I also do is have a bunch of sketchbooks, which I keep everywhere. And as I go through the day and get ideas, I sketch things on everything. If I'm on the telephone, I wind up sketching. It's just a compulsive doodler, I guess, but it's actually paid off because over the years of constantly drawing everything everywhere, I have lots and lots of, I guess, different things. If I have an idea and I want to make something, I just pull out sketchbooks and see what it is that I never run out of ideas. I've had people tell me, well, I have artist block. I have no idea what that is. I will run out of time before I ever have time to make everything that I want to make. And I think one of the reasons is because I draw constantly. Yeah, this one was, I was on the phone for about an hour. So I just kept sketching. Yep, I really enjoy not having to go to work. It frees me up to pretty much mess with art nonstop.
How many hours a day would you guess you do on a typical?
Oh, probably if I lumped it all together, 3 or 4 hours. I mean, I have other things I have to do around the place, but you know, I do cook and clean and walk the dogs, and now we're getting into spring, which means I need to get all the garden plants started. I grow all those from seed. Yeah,
You're a busy lady.
yes, the art studio that I built, which has a picture on my website, that has a greenhouse attached to it. So I start the plants in the house and then I move them all out there, and then eventually they wind up in the garden, which is good because it feeds us. So anybody have some questions, or I guess Zach is going to show some photos.
I just put up
that's the studio.
Yeah.
This was pretty fun to build. It's built on a pole barn, and then I infilled all the area around there. It looks like stone, but that's actually cordwood. So basically pieces of split firewood that I laid up like to do stone, but it's wood. There's about a foot of stone around the bottom for the foundation, and then the rest is wood. And the doors and the top corners, those are board and batten. And the trees that we cut were spruce trees that I planted with my dad and brother when I was 5.
How thick are your walls?
The walls are 18 inches thick.
Oh.
Did you get that? The walls
Yes.
are 18 inches thick. I think my sound cut out again.
No, I caught it.
Okay, there it goes.
And it's cordwood, and then is it concrete? That's
Yeah, mortar.
mortar.
Yep. And the interesting thing about wood is it does not stick to concrete. So you have to mix sawdust into it to allow it to not shrink as much, which is kind of curious. But in doing so, it winds up with an 18-inch wall with sawdust in the center, core or masonry on inside and outside, and the wall is insulated. Yeah, pretty amazing construction.
And is the wood treated at all, or is it just
No. You just cut it, you peel the bark off the log, split it, and then start building. Actually, some of it isn't split, they're whole rounds, but most of it's split.
And on the right side there, that's a greenhouse?
That's the greenhouse. Yep. And it has a hot tub in it, which, the best art studios have hot tubs. Yeah.
Well, we could go to the gallery now.
Okay.
Start with your wood art. I really like this one, the crocodile and the flowers. That's
Yeah. That
piece.
was one of the first ones I ever did.
Okay.
Yeah. This one isn't carved. This is just pyrography, which is wood burning. And the piece of wood was a scrap. It's fairly thin, so I didn't want to carve it. And it has a crack down at the corner of the mouth of the alligator. And I don't usually even draw alligators, but that piece of wood just looked like it needed to be an alligator. So that was kind of fun.
So are these cutting boards too? Or are they just art?
That one's more of like just plain art.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, the group photos, and then the ones that look like boards, those are cutting boards. The one that's the goldfinch, that one is going to the View Museum in Old Forge here in a couple of weeks for a show.
And you carved out a whole bunch of the wood of this, it looks like it.
Yes.
How long did it take to do this?
A few weeks. I just kept chipping away at it. I don't really pay attention to how long I'm taking to do it. It took a while. And this one has more paint than most of them. Most of them I let the wood show through, but with yellow birds, it just gave me no choice. I had to put more paint on it. And this one's on a piece of maple. The yellow looked terrible on cherry, so I went with maple.
And what is the yellow pigment? What is it?
It's just plain artist's oil paint. Yeah, I've tried a few different things. Somebody told me colored pencil works on wood, which it does, but it fades in about a month. So I didn't bother to use that. That's a detail from it. Yeah, that did take some work. I had to chip away at that for a while. These are just little things that are fun to do in the winter, especially when I'm tinkering away.
Is that like the size of a Christmas tree ornament, maybe?
Yeah, they're about 3-4 inches across. Yep, they have each one has a different picture on the other side, so there's 2 for 1 there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And the yeah, the 2 woodpecker carvings, those were done on wood that already had a hole in it, which made it fun too.
Oh yeah.
Kind of used the hole in the wood was there on both of those.
Right.
Yeah.
It's neat. So this is some more of the glass art.
All right. Yeah, we got bottles, which I don't do very many of because my torch is too small. The bottle's only about you know, a couple inches because I just can't make them much bigger than that.
Those look like some of the bottles that they have in the Johnson Art Museum in the
Kinda.
Japanese collection. Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful. Did you ever go over to Corning to take lessons over there?
I did. Yeah.
Neat. I know somebody who's gone over there to do marbles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, Corning's a fun place to go if you want to try your hand at doing glass art. You can take they have weekend classes where you can learn to make beads and various things, and you know, it takes a while to really get the hang of it, but you can start out and have fun just on a weekend. Yeah, the sculptural work is a little more difficult. It's like trying to make 2000-degree chewing gum do what you want. Yeah. And it does give you your share of burns, that's for sure.
So for this one with the chicks on it,
Mm-hmm.
that you had to shape them into that shape. Did you drill a hole or?
You make them on what's called a mandrel, which is basically a piece of stainless steel welding wire in whatever size you want, and you dip it in what's called bead release, which is a graphite substance that the glass will stick to. And then when you get the bead done, you just dip that in some water when it's cooled, not when it's hot, or the bead will crack. And then you can take the bead off. And all the glass, once it's made, has to go into the kiln and get fixed so that it doesn't crack. It has to slowly mellow out and get tempered. Otherwise, you'll have stresses in it. So you make each bead separately and then make whatever it is you want. That's a bracelet called Which Came First, which is kind of fun.
And so you got different colored glass here as well. You got some pink and black for the eyes and white for the gray for the beak.
Yep, the soft glass especially comes in all different colors, so you can make whatever you want. And you can mix a glass. It doesn't really work the way paint mixing does, but sort of similar.
Wow.
Yeah, and some of these things, this one I think they sell at 15 Steps down in Ithaca. They sell some of my things, the owls. Yeah, owls are fun to make.
I like the sea turtle. That's neat looking.
I was just going to say, I love the sea turtle. I also like the look of each of the little beads on it. That is just glorious.
Yeah, that's a pretty sumptuous necklace.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you do the metal work as well?
Yes.
Make your own metal beads, or do you buy the beads?
The beads I made, the braided beads I made myself.
Okay. Neat. Wow.
What is this piece?
That is the sort of thing that happens on a cold winter when you're just hanging in the studio and you just keep adding things without really thinking about it. I had the 2 glass beads for the cat faces that have been kicking around for probably 10 years. And I finally decided to do something with them, and I just kept adding to it. I think I'll probably turn that piece into a lamp.
And is that a wood base on it?
Yep, that's a piece of cherry that I just carved a little bit and then put pyrography on it. The music is row, row, row your boat.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How would you turn it into a lamp?
Well, I'm going to drill out a couple of pieces of wood to put the wires through and make a bigger base for it. And then I'll have to make a shade, probably with some silk and doodads hanging off it.
Hmm.
And then when I finish that, I'll put it up on the website.
Huh.
I may get my stepson to make me a, oh, what is the stuff? Clear plastic. Excuse me.
Could you actually run like LED lights into the beads? You know, you can buy those.
I could put LEDs in clear glass.
Mm-hmm.
And I would certainly wire it for LED bulbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's some ceramic. I don't do a lot of ceramic because I don't have enough electricity here to push a big kiln.
Wait, you have a kiln up there?
Yeah, this one I made at the clay school up there on South Hill.
Yeah.
That's a fun place to go if you want to mess with ceramics. And I'd never used a wheel before. I'd done some hand building, so I really wanted to try my hand at spinning clay. It's stupidly easy. Yeah, I was able to make that within a week or so. I could throw things pretty well, but it was fun. Yep, that's a pretty tiny jar. That was fun to make.
All right, on to the paintings then, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. My oil painting skill is, I would say, a bit stiff, but needs to loosen up my technique a little, but I still have fun doing it. The chipmunk picture is only 4 inches square, but it came up on the website the same size as the others.
You like birds, it seems like.
I do like birds, yes. And the dog portrait there, that's our old collie, Rose.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I do like birds. They're my go-to thing to make for sure. Birds and animals. I don't draw very many pictures of people.
Do you plant with your gardens? Do you plant specially for birds?
Well, I do plant a lot of sunflowers, which they like. And we have a fair amount of land here, so we have lots of birds. I feed them in the winter. These are just colored pencil drawings.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Are they the result of long phone calls?
Pardon?
Are they the result of long phone calls?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I get hyperactive, but I can stay calm and draw.
Yeah, neat.
Yeah.
It's just colored pencils?
Colored pencils and some graphite, regular graphite pencil, but mostly colored pencil.
Uh-huh.
So on paper, they'll maintain their color even if they won't on wood?
Yes, I'm not sure why that is.
The moisture in the wood, maybe?
Yeah, it might be. I don't know.
Huh, interesting.
But I did not like the colored pencil on wood. It just didn't do it. But oil paint works great.
Lovely.
Yeah, any art other than glass that you leave in bright sunlight fades. And these are some pretty old ones when I still had an enlarger. These are
Explain a photogram, please.
okay. This is where you take a piece of light sensitive photo paper and you set up a whatever it is you want. Like in this case, I used a lot of feathers and glass and ribbon and various things. And you put that on the paper in a dark room you're working, and then you expose it with the enlarger and then develop the resulting picture just like you would any other silver gelatin print. So, you know, in the developer solution and then rinse it off.
Mhm.
So there's no negative involved with these. So you only get one. You can't make another one unless you set the whole thing back up again.
Yeah.
So they're one of a kinds. They never come out the same twice.
You have to keep track of what kind of exposure you're going to give the paper and
Yep.
consistent in its development. Huh?
Yep. Yep. So they make a pretty interesting black and white image.
This is a bottle with.
Yes.
Huh.
That's called Emily's bottle because my daughter Emily threw the bottle in a campfire, and then the bottle kind of flattened out and melted, and then she took it and filled it full of glass marbles, and then the bottom cracked out of the bottle because it had been in a fire, you know, lost its temper. But it made an interesting photogram.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like dabbling in various things.
Kind of neat to see your fingers in there, or someone's fingers.
Yes, that was mine as I'm holding the bottle. That's my thumb and forefinger.
Neat.
Yeah.
This is feathers that are in the top part of the exposure. Feathers.
Yep. Yep. Couple of feathers. Almost looks like it's in front of a mirror, but it wasn't.
So currently, you've worked. I can see work in 3 different medians. Which one do you feel most inspired with right now? What are you spending your time on?
I really like working with wood at the moment. It's just been a lot of fun. I have 3 or 4 carvings going right now, which I would show you, but I can't, my internet just doesn't go all the way out to the studio, which is too bad. But as I get them done, I'll put them up on the website.
So do you have water, obviously electricity to the studio, but other accoutrements out there?
There's a wood stove. Our house is heated with wood too. We don't have any conventional heat. But I have a wood stove out there, and there's a well with a pitcher pump, which if I wanted some water, I could get it. No bathroom. I have to run back to the house, which is okay. Probably gets me out of there enough, which is a good thing. Yeah, it's pretty basic.
So I don't know, 60 years ago, maybe more, I remember I got a wood burning kit for Christmas one year. And I think a lot of kids got them back then. I have no clue what ever happened to it, but it was fun.
Yeah, I missed that whole thing. I never did any wood burning at all until 2 years ago.
That's really nifty. And I've seen some since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a wonderful, fun thing to do. And then if you carve the wood a little bit, it definitely adds to it.
Lovely, lovely. Do you ever go up to Cornell?
To the Johnson Museum?
No, actually, I'm thinking about in either Sealy or Mudd Hall. There is just a magnificent carved owl that was given to them in honor of Big Red. The hawk that was, so it's a hawk, not an owl, that was some guy's COVID project. That was what he did when he couldn't go anywhere. And so it's really nifty. Your owl kind of makes me think of that same style with all the feathers and all of that. Just lovely. Really, really lovely.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's really neat the way you use a combination of cutting and burning.
Yeah, kind of adds to the fun.
Yeah, very, very nice.
Yeah.
So the burning, is that just for coloration, or can you remove wood do you remove much wood?
The burning just colors it in. If I want to remove the wood, I'll either use my small handheld router, which will really chew it up. And I also have an angle grinder with a chainsaw blade on it. If I want to get really ambitious, that just rips and tears. And then I have a Dremel tool with smaller bits on it where I can get details. And then of course I sand a lot of it and just keep trying different stuff till I get what I want to happen. The wood burner just basically is a thing that heats it up. I'll see if I can show it to you. Forgive me if the sound goes out.
Okay.
Let's see. Right there, that's the wood burner. And it's got this little thing is what this is the thing that heats up and actually marks the wood. That's a fancier one than what you can usually get at like Joann Fabrics. But those little small kits, I started with one of those, and you can do a lot with one of those. But this one just has a little more of detailed tips on it.
So down in town here, where did you say that you could see your art for sale?
Okay, what was that?
Yeah, where did you say you could see your art exhibited or for sale? Is it
at 15 Steps has some of my glass jewelry. They're down in Ithaca. Yeah, and then of course on my website. And I am part of the Ithaca Art Trail. So on first Saturdays of every month, you can come out to the studio, which is also fun.
Is that up and running? Are people coming around these days? Is that?
Yep. We had a bit of a tizzy with COVID, of course, but I refuse to worry about COVID. I caught it and got over it with no problem whatsoever. So
good.
Yeah.
So on the website, I see there's a place to follow your doings.
Yep. If you want to, you can add your name there, and when I do new work, I send out a quick email to people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there art shows that you participate in regularly?
I haven't in a while. Hopefully I'll do the one in Ithaca this summer. I just was not organized enough to pull it off last summer. I have to actually organize that in the winter because in the summer I'm so busy in the garden. It's just, I run out of time. But this year I did plan on that. So hopefully I'll get there. And that and the art trail, I do. Yeah, I can't sit still long enough to sit at art shows very often. So I don't do that.
Well, does anybody have any questions or anything that they want to follow up on here? Myra?
Stephanie, I don't know where you live.
I live up on Caswell Road in Freeville.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, would I have been on Caswell when I was going to or from to walk the Dryden Rail Trail? Because I think I've been on it for some reason. Maybe you also just driving around over there.
do you know Ursula Hillsdorf? She's building that house with a tiny house that she came with. She came in, she lived in a tiny house for a while now. She has a bigger house on Caswell.
Yes.
Do you know who she is, or you've been by?
I do not. There's a bunch of little tiny houses down in there, but I don't know the people who live in them.
Well, she built a big house right next to the tiny house. So she's going to rent the tiny house and live in the new house. She's
Yeah, most people who live in tiny houses get really tired of that pretty quick.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to know. I know where Caswell Road is now.
Yeah.
Neat.
This is Caswell 166.
Yes.
429.
Yeah. And you can tell when you're at our house because our house is off the road about a quarter of a mile, but there's a sign there that says Greystone Farm.
Oh, and I've been to Carlton Manzano's place for his.
We live right across the road from him.
Okay, so I have seen your house.
Yeah.
I used to do exercises and play badminton with his wife.
Okay.
Neat. Okay, that's why I've seen it. Excellent. That's a beautiful, beautiful area.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How many acres do you have?
We have about 40.
Wow.
Neat. Really nice.
Ursula has 15, I think.
Gorgeous.
Well, we have a big pond and all kinds of stuff going on here.
So that brings in some water birds for you to watch.
Yep. Yep. And this morning we heard the red-winged blackbirds are back. So
Oh, that's wonderful. Those are my daughter's favorites.
Yep. Spring has sprung.
Neat.
Yep. All right. Well, it's been nice having a chat with you guys.
Yes, Stephanie, I appreciate you showing up for us. Really beautiful work and interesting to learn about it.
Well, I'm just so amazed by the scope of the different things that you do. That is really neat. The carving and the glass and the painting, just spectacular. And
thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to talk to us.
Yeah, we'll look for your stuff in the future.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's nice to see you all. Have a good afternoon. We'll see some of you next week, I guess.